Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderbolt and watched the stars through the main screen. The human warship moved slowly through space near the Kepler sector. Other alien races called this area dangerous, but Jake did not worry much about it. His ship was strong and his crew was ready for anything that might come their way. The Thunderbolt looked different from other ships in the Galactic Federation fleet. Where alien vessels were smooth and curved with bright metal surfaces, the human ship had thick armor plates and sharp angles. Large gun barrels stuck out from its hull like old cannons from ancient Earth warships. Many alien captains laughed at the human design and called it ugly and primitive. Jake had been in space for 15 years since humanity joined the Federation. He remembered when humans first met the other races and how the aliens looked down on them. The Altarians with their blue skin and large eyes thought humans were too violent. The Zilonians with their tall, thin bodies said human technology was backward. Even the small, furry Quillic people made jokes about human ships being too heavy and slow. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes walked up to Jake and handed him a datapad. She was his tactical officer and one of the best humans in the Federation fleet. Her red hair was pulled back tight and her green eyes showed she was always thinking about the next battle. Captain, the morning reports show all systems working. Fine, Lisa said. Chief Engineer Danny Clark says the new armor plating is holding up well. The railgun systems are ready and the crew finished their combat training yesterday. Jake nodded and looked at the report. The Thunderbolt carried weapons that no other Federation ship used. Instead of energy beams and plasma cannons like alien ships, the humans built magnetic railguns that fired solid metal projectiles at very high speeds. Most alien engineers said these kinetic weapons were useless against modern energy shields. The bridge was busy with crew members working at their stations. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Blake sat at the weapons console checking the targeting systems. Navigator Lieutenant Paul Grant plotted courses through the star systems. Communications Officer Lieutenant Carl Adams monitored radio signals from across the sector. Jake liked his bridge crew because they all came from military families on Earth. Unlike the peaceful alien races who had not fought wars for thousands of years, humans still remembered how to fight. Earth had many conflicts before joining the Federation, and this experience made human soldiers different from alien ones. A loud beeping sound came from the communications station. Lieutenant Adams looked up with concern on his face. Captain, we are getting a distress signal from the science vessel UFS Discovery. They report being under attack by Vorthon ships. Jake felt his heart beat faster. The Vorthons were the most dangerous enemy the Federation faced. They had powerful ships with energy weapons that could destroy most vessels in minutes. Their empire wanted to take over Federation space, and they attacked any ship they found. How far away is the Discovery? Jake asked. About 2 hours at maximum. Speed, Adams replied. 3 Federation ships are already responding to the call. The Altarian cruiser Starwind, the Zilonian destroyer Swift Current, and the Quillic frigate Small Hope are moving to help. Lisa looked at her tactical display and frowned. Captain, those ships have good crews, but their weapons might not be enough. Against Vorthon dreadnoughts, the aliens use plasma cannons that can burn through most Federation armor. Jake walked to the center of the bridge and thought about what to do. The other Federation captains were experienced and their ships were faster than the Thunderbolt. But Jake knew something they did not know. Human weapons worked differently than alien ones, and this difference might be important in the coming battle. Set course for the Discovery position, Jake ordered. Maximum speed and battle stations. The bridge crew moved quickly to follow his orders. Red lights flashed throughout the ship as the battle alarm sounded. Jake could hear the crew running through the corridors to their combat positions. Chief Engineer Danny Clark called from the engine room to report that all power systems were ready. Dr. Helen Ross from the science station confirmed that their sensors were working perfectly. As the Thunderbolt accelerated toward the battle zone, Jake thought about human history. Earth had seen many wars between different nations and people. Humans learned to fight with guns and cannons while alien races developed peaceful ways to solve problems. When humans finally got into space, they brought their military knowledge with them. The other Federation races thought this was wrong. They believed that advanced species should not fight wars anymore. But Jake knew that sometimes fighting was necessary to protect good people from bad ones. The Vorthons proved this because they only understood strength and violence. Lieutenant Adams received another message from the battle area. His face went pale as he read it. Captain, the Starwind reports heavy damage. The swift current is not responding to calls. There appears to be one Vorthon dreadnought attacking all 3 ships. At once, Jake gripped the arms of his command chair. One enemy ship was defeating 3 Federation vessels. This showed how powerful Vorthon technology really was. Most alien captains would probably retreat and call for more help. But Jake had a different plan. Send a message to all Federation ships in the area, Jake said. Tell them the Thunderbolt is coming to help. We will engage the enemy ship directly. Lisa looked surprised. Captain, are you sure about this? Our ship is tough, but we have never fought a Vorthon dreadnought before. Their plasma weapons are very dangerous. Jake smiled for the first time that day. Lisa, the Vorthons have never fought a human ship before either. They do not know what our weapons can do. Sometimes the best advantage is being underestimated by your enemy. The Thunderbolt continued through space toward what would become the most important battle in human history. Jake Morrison and his crew were about to show the galaxy that humans belonged among the stars not as junior partners, but as warriors who earned their place through courage and determination. The Thunderbolt dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the battle zone. Captain Jake Morrison immediately saw the destruction on the main screen. The Zilonian destroyer Swift Current was floating dead in space with its hull cracked open. Debris from Federation ships drifted everywhere like metal snow. The Altarian cruiser Starwind was still fighting but barely alive. Its blue energy shields flickered on and off as the ship tried to escape. The small Queelec frigate Small Hope was hiding behind an asteroid and sending desperate calls for help. In the center of the battle area was the Vorthon dreadnought. The alien ship was massive and dark with red glowing lines across its hull. Plasma. Cannons fired bright streams of energy that could melt through most Federation armor in seconds. The ship looked like a giant predator hunting smaller prey. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes worked quickly at her tactical station. Captain, the enemy ship is called Death's Edge according to our database. It has heavy plasma artillery and energy, shields that can stop most weapons. The ship is 3 times larger than us and carries twice as many crew members. Jake studied the enemy vessel and noticed how it moved. The Vorthon ship was fast and could turn quickly, but it fought like most alien ships did. It stayed far away and used long-range energy weapons. This was exactly what Jake hoped to see. Open communications with the other Federation ships, Jake ordered. Lieutenant Carl Adams worked at his station and soon the voices of the other captains filled the bridge. Captain Veltar of the Starwind spoke first. His voice sounded weak and tired. Human ship, this is Captain Veltar. You must retreat immediately. The Vorthon dreadnought is too powerful for any single ship to fight. We tried to stop it, but our weapons cannot get through its shields. The small voice of Captain Pixel from the Queelec frigate joined the conversation. The human captain should run away now. The Death's Edge has destroyed everything that tried to fight it. There is no shame in retreating to get more help. Jake looked at his crew and saw determination in their faces. These humans had trained their whole lives for moments like this. Unlike the peaceful alien races, humans understood that sometimes one ship had to stand alone against impossible odds. This is Captain Morrison of the UES Thunderbolt, Jake said into the communication system. We are going to engage the enemy ship. All Federation vessels should move to a safe distance and prepare to assist survivors. There was silence on the communication channel for several seconds. Then Captain Veltar spoke again with shock in his voice. Captain Morrison, you cannot be serious. That is a Vorthon dreadnought. Your ship will be destroyed in minutes. Please reconsider this decision. Jake looked at Lisa, who nodded back at him. She understood the plan even though they had never tried it in real combat before. All Federation ships retreat to minimum safe distance. We are beginning our attack run now. The Thunderbolt began moving toward the Death's Edge at full speed. Jake could feel the vibrations through the ship as Chief Engineer Danny Clark pushed the engines to maximum power. The human warship accelerated faster than most alien vessels expected, because human engineers built their ships for combat instead of comfort. On the Death's Edge, war leader Thakmor watched the approaching human ship with amusement. Vorthons, were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms that ended in sharp claws. They lived for battle and conquest. Thakmor had destroyed hundreds of Federation ships in his long career. "A single human vessel approaches us," Thakmor said to his crew. "These humans are even more foolish than the other Federation races. Prepare the main plasma batteries and destroy them quickly." The Death's Edge turned its massive guns toward the Thunderbolt and fired. Bright streams of plasma energy crossed space at the speed of light. The energy beams hit the human ship and exploded against its forward shields in brilliant flashes. But something unexpected happened. Instead of burning through the human shields like they did with other Federation ships, the plasma beams seemed to spread out and dissipate. The Thunderbolt kept coming toward the Death's Edge without slowing down. "Target the human ship again," Thakmor ordered with anger in his voice. "Increase power to maximum and burn through their defenses." The Vorthan gunners fired again and again. Each plasma blast was stronger than the last. The space around the Thunderbolt lit up like a small sun as energy weapons hit the human ship over and over. But still the human vessel continued its approach. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Blake monitored the weapon systems, while explosions shook the bridge around him. "Captain, the forward armor is holding, but we are taking heavy damage. Hull temperature is rising in sections 7 through 12. Jake gripped his command chair as another plasma blast rocked the ship. "Danny, how are the engines holding up?" Chief Engineer Danny Clark's voice came through the intercom from deep in the ship. "Engines are running hot but stable, Captain. The new armor plating is doing its job. The plasma energy is being absorbed and redirected away from critical systems." Dr. Helen Ross looked up from her science station with excitement in her eyes. "Captain, the Vorthan weapons are energy-based just like we thought. Our composite armor was designed specifically to handle this type of attack. The aliens have never seen anything like it before." The watching Federation ships stayed at a safe distance, but their crews could not believe what they were seeing. The human ship was flying directly into the strongest plasma fire in the galaxy, and surviving. Most alien vessels would have been destroyed in the first few seconds. Captain Veltar spoke over the communication system with wonder in his voice. "How is the human ship still functional? No Federation technology can withstand that level of plasma bombardment." Jake did not answer because he was focused on the distance between his ship and the enemy. The Thunderbolt was getting closer to the Death's Edge, with each passing second. Soon they would be close enough to use their secret weapon. War Leader Thakmor was becoming confused and angry. His plasma cannons should have destroyed the human ship already. Vorthan weapons had never failed to penetrate enemy defenses before. He did not understand how human technology could be so different from other Federation ships. "All guns fire. Continuously," Thakmor screamed at his crew. "Do not let the human ship get any closer." The Death's Edge unleashed everything it had. Every plasma cannon and energy weapon fired at the Thunderbolt in a concentrated barrage. The space between the two ships became a river of deadly energy that would have vaporized most vessels instantly. But the Thunderbolt kept coming through the storm of fire like an ancient Earth battleship, sailing through enemy cannon smoke. Yet, human crew worked frantically to keep their ship functioning, while their captain led them into the most dangerous battle any human had ever fought in space. The Thunderbolt closed the distance to the Death's Edge until both ships were almost touching in space terms. Captain Jake Morrison could see the enemy vessel filling the entire main screen. The Vorthan dreadnought was so close that individual weapon ports and armor sections were visible. War Leader Thakmor realized too late that the human ship had reached point-blank range. At this distance, both ships could destroy each other, but the Vorthans had never fought at such close quarters before. Their tactics relied on long-range plasma bombardment to keep enemies far away. "Human ship, you are too close," Thakmor broadcast on all frequencies. "Move away immediately or we will both be destroyed." Jake Morrison smiled as he heard the fear in the alien commander's voice. This was exactly where he wanted to be. Human naval tradition taught that the best way to win against a superior enemy was to get close enough that their advantages meant nothing. "Lisa now," Jake commanded. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes pressed a series of buttons on her tactical console. Deep inside the Thunderbolt, hidden weapon systems came online for the first time in combat. Magnetic coils charged with enormous amounts of power, while targeting computers locked onto the enemy ship. Railguns ready, Captain, Lisa reported. All 6 forward batteries are loaded with kinetic penetrators and ready to fire. The Death's Edge was still firing its plasma weapons, but at close range the beams were hitting the Thunderbolt's thickest armor sections. Human engineers had designed their ship to absorb energy attacks and redirect the heat away from vital systems. The alien crew could not understand why their most powerful weapons seemed useless. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Blake monitored his targeting display as the computer calculated the perfect firing solution. Target acquired, Captain. Enemy shields and armor configuration analyzed. Recommend firing at their forward power section. Jake took a deep breath and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. All railguns fire. 6 magnetic cannons fired simultaneously from hidden ports along the Thunderbolt's hull. Instead of energy beams or plasma bolts, the human weapons launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The kinetic penetrators were made from dense alloys and accelerated to nearly 20% of light speed by powerful magnetic fields. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Vorthan energy shields that could stop any plasma weapon or laser beam were completely useless against solid matter traveling at relativistic velocities. The metal projectiles punched through the Death's Edge's defenses like bullets through paper. Each kinetic round carried the energy of a small nuclear weapon, but concentrated into a tiny point of impact. The alien ship's hull cracked and split as the penetrators smashed through armor plating and internal bulkheads. Explosions erupted throughout the Vorthan vessel as vital systems were destroyed by the impacts. War leader Thakmor felt his ship shudder as the human weapons tore into its structure. Damage reports flooded in from all sections. The Death's Edge had never been hurt so badly in any previous battle. Thakmor could not understand how primitive kinetic weapons could be so effective. Damage report, Thakmor demanded from his crew. War leader, the human projectiles have penetrated our main reactor shielding. One of his officers reported with panic in his voice. Power systems are failing throughout the ship. The forward plasma batteries are offline and we have hull breaches in 17 sections. Dr. Helen Ross monitored her science readings and explained to the bridge crew what was happening. Captain, the Vorthan shields are designed to deflect energy attacks by creating electromagnetic barriers. But kinetic weapons use pure momentum and mass. Their shields cannot stop solid objects moving at high velocity. The watching Federation ships saw something that had never happened before in galactic history. A human vessel was not just surviving against superior alien technology, but actually winning the battle. The crews of the other ships stared in amazement as the Death's Edge began to list and spark with internal fires. Captain Veltar of the Starwind could barely speak. The human ship is destroying a Vorthan dreadnought. How is this possible? Their weapons should not work against energy shields. Jake Morrison ordered his crew to prepare for a second salvo. The Thunderbolt's railguns were already reloading with fresh kinetic penetrators. Human engineering made it possible to fire these weapons much faster than traditional space cannons. Target their engine section this time, Jake told Ryan Blake. We want to stop them from escaping. The Death's Edge tried to turn away and retreat, but it was too late. The human ship had positioned itself perfectly to control the battle. Lieutenant Paul Grant had calculated their approach vector to give the EITUI Thunderbolt maximum tactical advantage. Second salvo ready, Captain, Ryan reported. Fire. Another 6 kinetic rounds launched from the Thunderbolt and slammed into the Death's Edge's rear section. The alien ship's main engines exploded in brilliant flashes as the penetrators destroyed the reactor containment systems. Without power, the massive Vorthan dreadnought began to drift helplessly through space. Engineer Third Class Amy Torres worked in the lower decks to repair damage from the plasma bombardment. She and her team kept the Thunderbolt systems running even while the ship was under heavy fire. This kind of damage control training was something only human crews practiced regularly. War leader Thakmor realized his ship was finished. The Death's Edge was dead in space with most of its weapons offline and power systems failing. He had never imagined that humans could defeat Vorthan military technology. The aliens had underestimated human ingenuity and paid the price for their arrogance. Human ship. Thakmor broadcast with defeat in his voice. We request terms of surrender. Our ship is disabled and cannot continue fighting. The silence that followed was heard throughout the galaxy as news of the battle spread. Never before had a Vorthon warship surrendered to any Federation vessel. The Death's Edge represented the best military technology the aliens possessed, and it had been beaten by what they considered primitive human weapons. Jake Morrison looked at his crew and saw pride in their faces. They had proven that humans belonged among the stars as equals, not as junior members of the Federation. The Thunderbolt might be scarred and damaged, but it was still fighting while the enemy ship was helpless. "This is Captain Morrison," Jake announced, on all frequencies. "The Vorthon vessel has surrendered and will be taken into Federation custody. All ships prepare to assist with rescue operations." Chief Medical Officer Dr. Claire Adams reported that human casualties were surprisingly light. Considering the intensity of the battle, the Thunderbolt's armor and internal design had protected the crew even under heavy plasma bombardment. Human shipbuilding techniques focused on keeping people alive during combat. The battle was over, but its consequences would reshape the entire galaxy. Humans had shown that their military traditions and weapon technology could defeat even the most advanced alien ships. The warship that proved humanity's power had earned respect through victory rather than diplomacy. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communications could carry it. Within hours, every major world in the Galactic Federation knew that a human warship had defeated a Vorthon dreadnought in single combat. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive newcomers suddenly found themselves reassessing everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the conference room aboard the Thunderbolt as Federation officials questioned him about the battle. Admiral Kexloth, the supreme military commander of the Federation, appeared on the communication screen. The alien was tall and thin with silver skin and large black eyes that showed no emotion. "Captain Morrison explained to me how your ship survived. Plasma bombardment that would have destroyed 3 Federation cruisers," Admiral Kexloth demanded. "Our analysis shows that the Death's Edge fired enough energy to vaporize most known materials, yet your vessel remained functional." Jake looked at Dr. Helen Ross, who had prepared detailed reports about human military technology. The science officer stepped forward and activated a holographic display that showed the composition of the Thunderbolt's armor plating. "Admiral, our ship uses composite armor made from multiple layers of different materials," Dr. Ross explained. "Each layer is designed to absorb and disperse energy attacks in different ways. When plasma hits our hull, the energy is spread out and converted to heat, which is then radiated away through special cooling systems." Admiral Kexloth studied the technical data with interest. "This armor technology is completely different from standard Federation designs. Where did humans develop such advanced defensive systems?" Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes answered the question. "Admiral, human military history includes thousands of years of warfare using different types of weapons. We learned how to protect our ships and soldiers against energy attacks, kinetic weapons, explosives, and radiation. Our armor combines all of these defensive techniques." The alien admiral was silent for several minutes as he processed this information. Most Federation species had evolved beyond warfare so long ago that they had forgotten the lessons humans still remembered. Peace was good, but it also meant that alien military technology had not improved in centuries. "What about your weapons, Captain Morrison?" Admiral Kexloth continued. "Our sensors detected kinetic projectiles fired at extremely high velocities. These weapons should not be effective against modern energy shields, yet they completely penetrated." Vorthon Defense's Chief Engineer Danny Clark joined the conversation from his position in the engine room. "Admiral, most alien races abandoned kinetic weapons when they developed energy shields thousands of years ago. But humans kept improving both types of technology. Our railguns use magnetic acceleration to fire solid projectiles at speeds that make them impossible to stop with energy barriers." Jake could see that the Federation leadership was beginning to understand something important. Human military development had taken a different path from alien races. Where others had chosen energy weapons and energy defenses, humans had perfected both kinetic and energy systems to create balanced weapons platforms. War leader Thakmor was brought aboard the Thunderbolt under heavy guard. The Vorthon commander was tall and muscular with gray skin and 4 powerful arms. His red eyes burned with anger and humiliation as he was escorted to the conference room. "Human Commander," Thakmor said with hatred in his voice, "you have won this battle through trickery and deception. Vorthon technology is superior to anything the Federation possesses. Your victory is meaningless." Jake looked at the alien warrior calmly. "War leader, your ship had better shields, stronger weapons, and more crew members than mine. But you lost because you underestimated human military knowledge. Superior technology means nothing if you do not know how to use it properly." The Vorthon. Leader's face showed confusion. "What do you mean, human?" "The Death's Edge represents the finest military engineering in the galaxy. No Federation ship should have been able to defeat it." Dr. Helen Ross activated another holographic display that showed the tactical progression of the battle. "War leader, your ship fought exactly like we expected it to. You stayed at long range and used energy weapons while maintaining maximum shield power. This is how most alien races conduct space warfare." Lisa Hayes continued the explanation. "But humans developed different tactics based on our naval history. We closed to point blank range where your long-range advantage meant nothing. Then we used kinetic weapons that your energy shields could not stop. You were fighting yesterday's war while we were fighting tomorrow's war." Thakmor stared at the tactical display and began to understand how completely he had been outmaneuvered. The humans had not won through superior technology but through superior strategy and tactics. This was a concept that warlike Vorthons could respect even in defeat. Admiral Kexaloth spoke again from the communication screen. "Captain Morrison, I am ordering the Thunderbolt to return to Federation headquarters immediately. The High Council wants to meet with you and your crew. This battle has changed everything we thought we knew about human military capabilities." Jake nodded, but he was already thinking about the implications of their victory. Other human ships throughout the galaxy would soon face challenges from alien races who wanted to test human strength. The Thunderbolt had proven that humans could fight, but now every enemy would be prepared for kinetic weapons and close range tactics communications. Officer Lieutenant Carl Adams reported that messages were flooding in from across the Federation. Human colonies were celebrating while alien governments were demanding explanations. Some species were already requesting joint training exercises with human military units. The Queelec Captain Pixel sent a personal message to Jake, expressing amazement at human fighting skills. The small furry aliens had always been peaceful, but now they wanted to learn human defensive techniques to protect their merchant vessels from pirates. Captain Veltar of the damaged Starwind also sent his compliments along with a request for human engineers to help repair his ship. The Altarian captain admitted that he had been wrong about human technology and wanted to establish military cooperation between their species. But not all the responses were positive. Several alien races expressed concern about human military power and questioned whether humans should be allowed to build more warships. Some Federation members worried that humans were too aggressive and might become dangerous to peaceful species. Jake understood these concerns because human history was filled with examples of military power being misused, but he also knew that sometimes strength was necessary to protect good people from those who would harm them. The Vorthons proved that the galaxy was not a safe place for weak or defenseless species. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Claire Adams finished treating the injured crew members and reported that all humans aboard the Thunderbolt would recover completely. The ship's medical bay was designed to handle combat casualties, which was another advantage that came from human military experience. Engineer Third Class Amy Torres led damage control teams throughout the ship to repair systems damaged by plasma bombardment. Her teams worked with efficiency that impressed even the Vorthon prisoners who watched them through security monitors. The Thunderbolt began its journey back to Federation headquarters, while escort ships from multiple alien races joined the convoy. Everyone wanted to see the human warship that had achieved the impossible and defeated Vorthon military technology. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge and watched the stars ahead, knowing that human destiny among them had changed forever. The galaxy would never again dismiss humanity as primitive or weak, because the Thunderbolt had proven that humans earned their place through courage, innovation, and the will to fight for what was right. The Thunderbolt arrived at Federation headquarters 3 weeks after the battle that changed galactic history. The massive space station orbited a neutral world and served as the political center for hundreds of different species. As the human Warship approached the docking bay, thousands of beings watched from observation decks to see the ship that had defeated Vorthan military technology. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of the station wearing his dress uniform with new decorations that marked him as a hero of the Federation. Alien beings stopped to stare at him as he passed. Some showed respect, while others displayed fear or curiosity about the human who had proven his species belonged among the galactic powers. The High Council chamber was filled with representatives from every major race in the Federation. Jake had never seen so many different types of aliens gathered in one place. The Altarians sat in their blue robes while the tall Zolonians stood at attention. Even the small Quilek delegates had come to hear what the human captain would say. Admiral Kexaloth introduced Jake to the assembled council members. Honored representatives, today we hear from Captain Morrison, whose actions have forced us to reconsider human military capabilities. The battle against the Death's Edge shows that we may have underestimated our newest Federation members. Jake stepped forward and looked at the hundreds of alien faces watching him. He thought about his crew, back on the Thunderbolt, and all the humans throughout the galaxy who were counting on him to represent their species properly. Honored council members, Jake began. Humans did not join the Federation to prove we could fight better than other races. We joined because we believe in protecting peaceful species from those who would harm them. The Vorthans attack innocent beings, and we cannot allow that to continue. An elderly Altarian counselor named Velsan raised his hand to speak. Captain Morrison, your victory was impressive, but many of us are concerned about human military power. Your weapons and tactics are unlike anything we have seen before. How do we know that humans will not become aggressive toward Federation members? Jake had expected this question, because he knew that many aliens were afraid of human military traditions. Counselor Velsan, human history includes many wars, but it also includes many examples of humans fighting to protect others. We use our strength to defend those who cannot defend themselves. The Federation gave us that opportunity on a galactic scale. Dr. Helen Ross had been invited to address the Council about human technology. She stood at a podium and activated holographic displays that showed the technical details of human weapons and armor systems. Council members, Dr. Ross explained. Human military development followed a different path from other Federation races. We continued to improve kinetic weapons, while other species abandoned them for energy systems. This created a technological gap that proved decisive in combat against the Vorthans. A Zolonian representative named Kardec asked about human ship design. Dr. Ross, why are human vessels so different from standard Federation architecture? Your ships appear crude and heavily armored compared to our elegant designs. Dr. Ross smiled before answering. Representative Kardec, human ships are designed for combat survival rather than appearance. Our thick armor and redundant systems help crews stay alive during battles. We learned these lessons from centuries of naval warfare on Earth. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes was also present to discuss human tactical doctrine. The Council wanted to understand how the Thunderbolt had defeated a superior enemy force through strategy rather than technology alone. The key to our victory was closing to point-blank range, Lisa explained. Most alien races fight space battles at long distances using energy weapons, but humans learned that sometimes the best way to defeat a stronger enemy is to get close enough that their advantages mean nothing. War leader Thakmor had been brought before the Council as a prisoner, but also as a witness to human military effectiveness. The Vorthon commander stood in chains, but his red eyes still burned with the pride of a warrior race. Council members, Thakmor said with grudging respect in his voice. I have fought hundreds of battles and destroyed many Federation ships, but these humans defeated me through superior tactics and weapons I had never encountered. They earned their victory through skill, not luck. The Council debated for hours about what human military success meant for the future of the Federation. Some species wanted to learn human defensive techniques, while others worried about an arms race that might destabilize the galaxy. Admiral Kexaloth announced the final decision. The High Council has voted to establish joint training programs between human military units and Federation forces. We will also authorize the construction of additional human warships using your advanced armor and weapons technology. Jake felt relief wash over him. The Federation was accepting humans as equal partners rather than treating them as a threat. This meant that human colonies would be better protected, and the galaxy would be safer from enemies like the Vortons. Chief Engineer Danny Clark was promoted to the rank of commander and assigned to lead a new research program. His job would be developing hybrid weapon systems that combined human kinetic technology with alien energy systems. The goal was creating even more effective tools for defending Federation space. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Blake received command of his own ship and orders to train alien weapons officers in human gunnery techniques. His experience during the battle made him one of the most qualified humans to teach others about kinetic weapons systems. Communications Officer Lieutenant Carl Adams was assigned to Federation Intelligence Services, where his knowledge of human tactics would help analyze enemy capabilities. The battle had shown that understanding different military traditions was crucial for victory. Engineer Third Class Amy Torres and her damage control teams became instructors at the Federation Military Academy. Alien crews needed to learn human techniques for keeping ships functional during combat, because most peaceful species had forgotten these skills. 6 months later, Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of a new ship called the UES Constitution. This vessel incorporated lessons learned from the battle with the Death's Edge and represented the next generation of human warship design. The Constitution was larger and more powerful than the Thunderbolt, but it maintained the same basic philosophy of armor, kinetic weapons, and close-range tactics. The Constitution's crew included both humans and aliens working together as equals. Captain Veltar had requested transfer from the Altarian fleet to serve as Jake's second-in-command. The blue-skinned alien wanted to learn human military methods so he could better protect his own people. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes remained as tactical officer, but now she commanded a mixed crew of humans, Altarians, and Zolonians. Her experience during the battle made her one of the most respected officers in the Federation fleet. Jake looked at the stars ahead and thought about how much had changed since that day when the Thunderbolt faced the Death's Edge alone. Humans were no longer the new species that others looked down upon. They had earned respect through demonstrated capability and proven that strength used properly could protect the innocent. The warship that proved humanity's power was more than just the Thunderbolt. It represented the idea that humans belonged among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The galaxy was a dangerous place filled with species like the Vorthons, who understood only force. But now the Federation had humans to stand against such threats and show that good people would never stand alone against evil. Admiral Morrison, as Jake was now known, commanded a fleet of human and alien ships working together to defend Federation space. The lessons learned in one desperate battle had changed the balance of power throughout the galaxy, and proven that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or armor, but their refusal to surrender when fighting for what was right.